The DJI Osmo Pocket 4P might be the best small camera that I have ever used. It has a 1-inch sensor, up to 17 stops of dynamic range, and a 3x mid-tele lens that's never been seen before on the Pocket lineup. But there's a catch. Actually, there are a few catches. All these new incredible features on the Pocket 4P, and sometimes it feels like when you turn one on, the others disappear. And after using this camera extensively for the last 2 weeks, these are the things that frustrate me the most. I genuinely love having the 3x mid-tele lens on the Pocket 4P. The 60mm equivalent focal length gives you better compression, a more flattering portrait, and shots that were not possible before on the previous Pocket generations. But as soon as you start using the more advanced features, it becomes clear that the 3x mid-tele lens is not treated equally. The biggest example of this would be D-Log2. D-Log2, with its claimed 17 stops of dynamic range, only works on the 1x wide-angle lens. The 3x telephoto lens does not support it, and I understand why. It uses a different sensor, and that sensor does not have the same low-fig technology as the 1-inch wide-angle lens, so I'm not expecting the 3x mid-telephoto lens to magically produce the same dynamic range. My issue is how DJI chose to handle this limitation. When I'm recording in D-Log2, I cannot simply switch to the 3x mid-tele lens. Instead, I have to stop recording, go into the settings, switch the color profile from D-Log2 back to standard D-Log, return to the shooting screen, and only then does the 3x lens become accessible. There is a lot of menu diving just to get a tighter shot. I would much rather have the camera automatically switch between color profiles when I'm adjusting the focal lengths. Hell, give me a warning if necessary, but allow me to deal with the consequences. Which brings me to my next issue. Unlike its smaller brother, the original Pocket 4 and the previous generation Pocket 3, there is no 2x lossless zoom in this camera. The camera jumps from the 1x wide lens straight to the 3x mid-tele lens with no middle ground for when the 1x is too wide and the 3x is too tight. A proper 2x lossless zoom would be extremely useful in these scenarios. It would allow me to get a tighter focal length without switching lenses, changing between color profiles, and dealing with all the additional limitations that come with the 3x telephoto lens. Instead, I either have to stay wide, jump in all the way to the 3x mid-tele lens, or zoom in digitally and accept the loss in image quality. Which brings me to some of the other limitations of the 3x mid-tele lens. The Pocket 4P shoots incredible slow motion footage at up to 240 frames per second. But this is not available on the 3x mid-tele lens. Instead, the 3x mid-tele lens is kept at 200 frames per second. Now realistically, 200 FPS is still incredibly slow, and it's not a deal breaker by any means. But once again, it reminds you that the two lenses are not completely equal. And then there is Motionlapse, which is one of my favorite features of these Pocket cameras, and it's not available on the 3x tele lens, which just feels like a massive missed creative opportunity. A slow-moving telephoto Motionlapse with that extra compression would produce some incredibly beautiful shots. But that is simply not an option on the Pocket 4P. And that brings me to a much bigger issue with the Pocket 4P, is that some of its best features cannot be used together. Timelapse, Motionlapse, Hyperlapse, and slow motion are all incredible features on the Pocket 4P, and they all work incredibly well. But they are restricted to the standard color profile. And that is strange to me because these are the most cinematic features that the Pocket 4P has to offer. But the moment you use any of them, you lose access to D-Log and D-Log2, which is the camera's most professional color profiles. So if I'm shooting an entire project in D-Log or D-Log2 and I wanted to throw in some slow motion or motion lapse footage, I would lose the ability to match them. I would have to switch to the standard color profile. That means less grading flexibility, less control over the final look of the image, and potentially one shot that just looks completely different from the rest of the project. It feels like DJI has implemented all of these new, incredible features on the Pocket 4P, but only allows you to use them one at a time. You can have D-Log2, you can have the 3x mid-tele lens, and you can have Motionlapse. Just don't expect them to use them together. Which brings me to another gripe of mine, and that is, there is no shutter priority in D-Log2. When I'm out shooting, I often want to lock in my shutter speed. For example, if I'm shooting at 25 FPS, I would want to lock in my shutter speed at 1/50th of a second to maintain that motion blur. I would then want the camera to automatically adjust the ISO as the lighting changes. But D-Log2 does not give me that option. I either have to shoot in full manual settings and control the shutter speed and ISO myself, or constantly switch out ND filters, or I have to let the camera automatically adjust my shutter speed. That means in brighter conditions, the camera will give me a much more sharper and jittery looking image. The alternative is by no means an easy solution because I have to consistently monitor the exposure and adjust the ISO as and when necessary. For a control shoot in a controlled environment, full manual is completely fine, but this is a pocket camera and the whole selling point of it is convenience and ease of use, without any additional friction. A large part of the appeal is to pull it out, switch it on, and start shooting immediately without any friction. Just give me shutter priority. Which ties in directly with the next point, and that is the new ND filter system on the Pocket 4P. On the normal Pocket 4P, the ND filter system was magnetic and very easily interchangeable. But because the Pocket 4P has this dual camera system and a much larger head, the filters now have to be twisted and clipped on in place, which makes it very complicated to switch out while you are busy shooting. In fact, most of the time I find myself having to turn the camera off, twist the filter out, and then replace it by twisting a new filter in. And yes, the filter system might be more secure, and I understand why the larger filters need to be held more tightly to cover both the lenses, but it also means changing filters are a lot more slower and more fiddly, which is why auto ISO would have been so fantastic with this camera. And in these run and gun situations, every second counts. Blink and you might lose the moment. The original Pocket cameras felt almost immediate, but with the new filter system, it just adds a layer of friction that doesn't need to be there. And even after you have dealt with the lenses, the exposure, the filter system, and everything in between, these issues typically do not end when you stop shooting. They follow you into the edit as well. The Pocket 4P gives you options. You have D-Log and you have D-Log2. These profiles do not use the same color science, and so grading them can be very different procedures. That means that they need to be treated differently when you are applying a LUT or doing color grading in your editing software. The problem is that these color profiles, D-Log and D-Log2, is not clearly identifiable in the metadata when I open it on my editing software. Instead, I have to view the metadata on the camera itself and then use that to separate them on my PC. So God forbid you've moved everything from your camera to your computer and then deleted it off your camera. There is no way, as far as I'm aware, of identifying what was shot in D-Log and what was shot in D-Log2. Unless I remember what I was using with every shot, which seems pretty much impossible to me. This might sound small, but it is something that is incredibly frustrating and time-consuming. The information needs to be clearer in the metadata, even if it's just a small field stating D-Log or D-Log2, or even if the naming convention had to state D-Log or D-Log2. A camera marketed as a professional camera should have a professional file management workflow system. So far, most of my complaints have been about the shooting and editing experience, but there are also a few physical design decisions that annoy me every time I carry the camera. Starting with the noise coming from the gimbal. Yes, I'm talking about the infamous Gimbal Rattle. And you'd be forgiven if you think this is a small issue, and you probably wouldn't hear it when you're recording anyway. Think again. Unless you're using a DJI microphone, holding this thing and walking around with it, especially on rough terrain or running or even while I'm driving, that gimbal rattle is noticeable. Here is an example of when I did some driving shots. And that rattling becomes even more concerning when you realize how little DJI cared about providing protection for the camera head. Which brings me to the next complaint. There is no proper gimbal protection included. The Pocket 4P just doesn't come with the gimbal protection that you would expect for something so delicate. This is now a larger dual lens assembly. That means 2 lenses, 2 sensors, more moving parts, and more prone to damage. And yet, I still need to find my own third-party protective case for this device. For a camera called the Pocket, I think I should be able to feel comfortable placing it in my pocket, or at least in a bag, without worrying about the gimbal going all over the place and potentially breaking. DJI knows that this is the most exposed and fragile part of the camera. A proper gimbal and lens protection should be included in the box, not sold separately and not left to third-party companies to design it for you. And while we're on the issue of additional pieces that should be necessary, let's talk about the pieces that shouldn't be necessary. And that is this. I wish DJI would include a 1/4" 20 thread directly on the camera body itself. So if I wanted to attach the Pocket 4P directly to a tripod, I wouldn't need this. And if I forgot this at home, it wouldn't be an issue. Now I need to make sure that I constantly carry this hand grip around and then attach it to the camera, and then only then can I connect it to a tripod or a selfie stick. And yes, this is small in the grand scheme of things, but it's still another thing that I need to carry around. The attachment should exist for people who want a larger grip, but it shouldn't be absolutely necessary if I wanted to connect it to a tripod or a selfie stick. In conclusion, none of these complaints change the fact that the Pocket 4P can produce incredible footage. D-Log2 is amazing. The dynamic range is excellent. The 3x telephoto lens gives you completely new creative possibilities. And 4K slow-mo up to 240 FPS from a camera this small is just absolutely ridiculous. My issue is not that the camera lacks features. My issue is that the best features sometimes get in the way of each other. You want D-Log2? No telephoto lens. You want the telephoto lens? No motion lapse, and so on. And each of these individual limitations might seem small, but together they create what I call workflow tax. The camera gives you professional image quality, but sometimes makes you work too hard in order to get it. The Pocket is supposed to be the camera that you whip out, you switch on, and you capture the moment. Frictionless, simple. Not the camera that makes you stop recording, jump through 3 different settings, and then only can you access the telephoto lens. Or twist off your ND filter, check your shutter speed, look for your mounting handle, and then discover that the moment has already passed. Now, having said all of that, this is still probably the best small camera that I have ever used, and I am having an absolute ball of a time using it. And it is so much fun to go outside and shoot with this thing, provided that you know its limitations and are fully prepared to face them. But those are just the things that annoy me the most. Let me know in the comments below which one bothers you the most, and if there's anything that I missed that annoys you specifically. And DJI, in the very, very unlikely event that you are watching this, please give us an automatic D-Log fallback when we are switching between the 2 lenses. Give us shutter priority in D-Log2. Give us log profiles in Motionlapse and Hyperlapse and slow motion and all these other fantastic cinematic shooting modes. Give us some sort of gimbal protection. And give us some way to identify in the metadata what's been shot in D-Log and D-Log2. That's all I'm asking. Well, mostly. So that's my rant for today, guys, and if you found this video useful, please give it a like and subscribe and let me know in the comments below. And if you own one, let me know what irritates you the most, or whether I've missed anything. Or maybe I've just given you 8 new things to be frustrated about. Either way, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.